Howdy. Hello. Two coats. Hello, Otello. Good morning. Ooh. Gotta go get some coffee here in a minute. I had a question in mind for if you started streaming, but I forgot it. Damn. You're getting old, Otello. You're starting to lose it. Just like me. I'm getting old too. Starting to lose it. Good morning. Hello, hello, hello. All these nice folks here today. All these sweet folks here today. Oh, bro. I am like only half alive today, I think. I've been on the road for 2 fucking straight days, man. Got home at like midnight last night. Drove all day. Fine, but I finally home. And we drove we drove all over the place. My dad's here visiting, and he's got family members that live, when I say near me, I mean within 8 hours of me. So we went and saw everybody. Oh, yeah, got home at something like midnight. Went to bed at like 2, woke up at 8. It's like, what? What the fuck? sleep. Or am I smoking drugs? I'm just smoking. You don't worry about what. You worry about the fact. Yeah. I rolled up a joint of methamphetamine. Get out. Too dumb. We should have had your dad talk about universal stupidios. Yeah, universal stupidios, yeah. Favorite fighter jet? Oh, uh, 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 F-16 Falcon? F-16. The F-16 Falcon. If I had to pick one. I like, the SR-71 Blackbird. That's my favorite jet, like military jet. But it's not a fighter jet. So I would go the F-16. That's a badass fighter jet. That's a dog fighter, the F-16. Optimistic nihilism? Yeah, why not? Will you hear my joke? No, I will not. No, I will not hear your joke. Now that's what you call facial hair. Yeah. Yeah. I hate people running around saying they have a beard and a motherfucker has stubble on their face. You've seen these dudes. They're like, I grew a beard, man. And it's like they just didn't shave yesterday. That's what they think is a beard. Dude, you ain't got a beard unless you can grab a handful. If you can grab a handful of your own beard, you have a beard. If not, you've got stubble, friend. Okay? You've got a 5 o'clock shadow. Chicken jockey. You got any weed for sale? If you were right behind me, you wouldn't need to ask me for weed. You would go to a pot shop and get weed. You see? So that's how I know that you're not right behind me. You're in some shitty prohibition state. Or worse, some country that doesn't allow it. Damn. That's gotta suck. What's your channel about? You're looking at it, man. Look at the title of the stream. Man smokes on his back porch in the woods. That's what's up. My boyfriend has a stupid mustache. I tell him to cut it, but I won't. I stopped kissing him. Lol, it feels so brushy. Damn. Damn. Most dames like facial hair, you know what I mean? They like a scrubby kiss. My wife goes in for a scrubby kiss all the time. She likes it. Do I live in the woods? What do you think, bro? What do you think? Like, who can take a rainbow? Sprinkle it too. I live in the woods, bro. I live in the woods, okay? Hi, how are you? The name of my favorite Daniel Johnston album. Hi, how are you? Quit nicotine recently. It was pretty rough. I'm through the worst of the withdrawals. Yeah, dude. I know what you mean. I can't quit the nicotine, but I've quit smoking cigarettes with this stupid thing. How did you know I'm a dungeon master? Those Zens? Eh. Got the same geek vape? Yeah. I went to a vape shop and I told them, like, I haven't vaped in like 4 or 5 years and I don't know what's what now. And the guy took me straight to this, so. Where are you from? I'm from Lake City, Florida. I'm all the way out west. I'm on the West Coast. I don't really tell people where, but I'm on the West Coast. So just about as far from you as I can be, I think. And still be in the U.S. Well, I guess I could be in Alaska or Hawaii. Don't come outside, D. Oh, thank you. Whoa. Thank you, Pops. Oh, Dad's loading us up with chairs. He's gonna join us. Look at that.
Coming out.
The crew's all here. The whole family. And about 70 idiots. Whew. Oh. That was a long up and back, I gotta say.
Yeah.
I think next time I go down that way, I'm gonna stay a few days. Like, you know, hang out 3 or 4 days, and because I don't think that would have been a bad drive if I had a couple of days to like recoup, but 2 days like that on the road in a row with not a ton of sleep, that was fun.
It was your idea, though, to leave.
I know. You know what? Think about it.
Yeah.
Had I not, we'd all be getting up right now going like, all right, let's pack our bags. Let's get the doggo. We got fucking 8 hours to drive through a bunch of bullshit today. Yeah, now we wake up, we're home. Same. Are you that way, Dad? Are you like, when there's a long drive, does it eat at you to stop? Do you want to just get it done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a man thing.
Yeah.
Drive.
It's like, I think that's why I get so frustrated in traffic. It's because, like, I like to see those miles get eaten.
Yeah.
Like, when I'm on the road, I like to watch those miles roll down. And when I'm just stop and go, it just pisses me off.
Well, the worst thing that happened when we were driving traffic-wise was that trucker tag and that sedan that thought he could get around the trucker tag.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there was a truck in front of me. The lane was closing, but it was like 2 miles up. And, you know, truckers probably have an app that tell them, like, get over here because this lane is going to close. Make it easier on yourself. But to us, it looked like the trucker was just sitting in the fast lane, not really trying to pass anybody. And this car behind me got real pissed. Tried to pass on the right and sees that there's another truck. And that lane that the other truck would be in is disappearing, and so he didn't want to feel like a dumbass and slow down and get back behind me, so he gunned it to get around the truck and just like barely made it. It He's all on the soft shoulder, pulling in front of the truck and shit. And I'm just like, dude, that people's ego on the road. I know mine gets big too. I want to blow people up with missiles. I do. That's my fantasy. Is when there's an idiot on the road in the fast lane going slow, or acting stupid or being dangerous. I have this fantasy. You know, Bond has those little gadgets where he flips a switch and the missiles come out. That's what I fantasize about. That's what gets me through. Stop smoking raws, though. These are not raws. These are OCB cones. I don't smoke raws. These are unbleached cones. So, yeah, I don't smoke raw. I can't get. It's because I can't order raw in the fucking mail here because it's stupid.
Bigger packs of OCBs.
Yeah.
Conveniently available.
Yep.
So. Is that okay? Did I wash it out okay enough?
Oh, yeah, it's perfect, baby. It's like stainless in there, so.
Yeah, I put a little soap in, ran the little thing
Yeah,
in there. Yeah.
That's the way it works. Can you get a hit of it? Yeah, here you go. There you go. Has your dad experienced an early flood of skibs on one of these chat yet? Yeah. He doesn't know when the skibbities come in because I don't tell him. But yeah, there's a constant chat that goes. Some of the people are reasonable, and those are the people I read. Others, I feel like it's like lobotomy patients, maybe, that they've given like a phone to, like, you know what I mean? That's basically how I feel like it is, yeah. So I don't read those, obviously, because I don't even know what language they're in most of the time.
Or them skibbity teenagers at the mall, remember?
Yeah, you remember them kids razzing that security guard last night at the mall? Yeah. That, but the online version of it. You know what I mean? Knocking on the window and running away. How can you not love this dude? I don't know. That's what I tell everybody. I'm like, I'm the most lovable human being that's ever been made. I'm a good hugger. I'm like big and furry, and I usually smell okay. You know what I mean? I smell pretty good. You know. What else do you need in a human being? Ugh. Man, I almost made a big mistake this morning when I started this coffee. I'm so glad I checked. I got everything, got the coffee put in the filter, and then I got the water added to it, and I was just about to hit start, and I was like, I better check to see we didn't leave like half a pot. Pulled it out, half a pot of cold ass coffee. Would have brewed right on top of it, and we would have all be going like, what the hell happened? Paul is king sexy. Paul's dad seems chilled and humble. Yeah, that's been bugging me. Dad's all humble now. No. And, yeah. I think Dad, continues to grow just like I hope I do. You know what I mean? Like if I had the same outlook on everything as I did 20 years ago, man, what's the point? I'd be bored. Part of life is learning, adapting, changing your perspective. That's fun to me. I'm not set in my ways that every opinion I have and every way I am has to be the same for the rest of my life. So it's cool to see that. And he's definitely, he mellowed with age, I think, a little bit. Little older, little wiser. Gray fox. Silver fox, that's what they call them. Silver fox, which that puts me at ease, right? I will also silver fox it out, and that's okay. I'll have an awesome beard. It'll be white. It'll be Santa Claus-esque, Dumbledore-esque. It's gonna be nice. It's got to be something that brings out the rage in him. Yeah, what pisses you off, Dad? They want to know.
Oh, wow. Say maybe Karens kind of tick me off sometimes.
Karens. Let's say you're talking like,
In your face kind of Karens.
yeah, whining, holding up the line, yelling at the people at the fast food place, and that sort of Karening, telling you where you can and can't park, trying to be the neighborhood enforcer type Karens. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that gets us all worked up.
I think if we could just slap them around a little bit, the world would kind of change for the better.
We go back to the 50s. Come here, you ditzy dame.
Back in the Old West, they just shoot them.
Yeah.
Those women would never survive.
Horse whip them. Your dad sounds young in body, though.
Oh.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know about that. My body's pretty old.
Male Karens can be punched. Male Karens are called Kevins. Kevins and Karens. But yeah, they're out there for sure. There's trans Karens, gay Karens, black Karens, white Karens, Chinese Karens. It is a unifying thing of humanity. You can't go nowhere on the world and not bump into a Karen. Hi, sir. Just wanting to let you know. Oh, okay, yeah. I don't do proselytizing shit.
Well, is he throwing a little Christianity at you?
They'll just like, but it's not like engaging with me. It'll be like a big paragraph of shit.
Judgmental stuff?
No. Like, hey there, I just wanted to let you know that Jesus loves you and that everything is, but you can tell it's like a copy pasted thing, and it's just like, man, you want to engage with me, bro. I'm a little too old for the chick tract treatment, you know? Like, bring something that I haven't heard a million times, because I've heard it a million times.
How about God is not ashamed of you or disappointed in you? Or am I?
Well, okay. I guess an entity that does not exist would not have the capacity for shame. So that makes sense.
You're supposed to be made in his image, so that would kind of go against being ashamed of you.
Yeah.
He gave you free will. He might be disappointed a little in how you've used your free will, but...
Well, I don't have any free will. He knew me before he formed me in my mother's womb and knew everything that I would do in my life. He wrote the skein of my life before I was even formed. How do I have free will? He knew what choice I was going to make. No free will. That's one of the things I used to use back in my atheist days. I would be like, if Christianity is true, then we are all suffering little automatons placed here to play out a play that this insane God has come up with, right? And there's no way we can do right because he made us to do wrong. It's you've seen The Devil's Advocate, that movie with what's his name? Fucking goddamn it, I'm getting old. Not Robert De Niro, the other one, Al Pacino plays the devil. Keanu Reeves plays, yeah,
That's an old movie.
Yeah, from the 90s. And towards the end of it, when um, Al Pacino reveals to his son that he's the devil, he gives a speech about God, and he says, um, he said, it's the greatest gag of all time. Look, but don't touch. Touch, but don't taste. Taste, but don't swallow. And I swear to God, he's up there laughing his sick ass off. He's a sadist.
And that meant so much to you that you memorized it all these
Well,
years.
I've just seen it a billion times. That's not a direct quote, but that's basically the gist of it.
I think that probably even Christians can relate to that angst or that the rails that are set to ride on. I don't know if you can. I think our free will gets a little out of hand sometimes. Even Adam and Eve, right? They had a little bit of free will, just ran away with them.
They had one dumbass rule. One. All they had to do was like rope off the area around that tree and just be like, hey, just remind themselves, don't go over there. One tree? One damn tree they had to leave alone.
I like how the Bible, as soon as God busts them, Adam's excuse is the woman.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, it was her fault if you think about it, though.
He blamed her right out, man.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was her fault, though. The serpent talked to her first.
Yeah.
He came to her, and she was like, wait a minute. Adam told me I wasn't supposed to eat this, or we would die. And the serpent says, ye surely shall not die. And then she freaking does it, and then brings Adam a fruit. I know. It's her fault. But yeah, he was quick to... I mean, I would be too, honestly. I guess presuming you're in the Garden of Eden and God is like... it's in the old days, so he's still a presence out there. He's still speaking directly to you from the sky and shit, and he's like, hey, who ate that fruit? I'd be like, it was her, man. I didn't want to do it, man. I told her not to. Yeah, the God of the Old Testament is scary, right?
Harsh.
He's like jealous and angry and vengeful and unforgiving in some ways. He's just like, dude, you ever think about Noah's Ark? I thought that story tweaked me out as a kid because I was like, all the babies that were alive were evil and sinners? God drowned what must have been 2, 3, 4 million babies because they were sinning? And the only people he saved was Noah's old ass and his family? You know, that used to wig me out as a kid. It's like, what did a baby do? I bet Vegan Gaines loves the Noah's Ark story. I don't know. Vegan Gaines is this vegan guy that yells at me sometimes.
He likes Noah's Ark.
Noah collected millions of pairs of insects from the Amazon and preserved them all, apparently. No. When you talk to a Christian, to a theologian, they will tell you, right? God, it's kinds. They preserved kinds of insects that would go on to populate the earth and have microevolutions to adapt to their environment, right? That is how they explain it. So Noah was not like everywhere on the planet getting every kind of little grub and thing. He just got a grub. And then that grub, when dispersed around the planet, I guess, after the flood was over, became all these other little insects. He didn't have to save every type of canine, he just grabbed the wolves, right? And the wolves became every other dog. So, right? Still, though, the boat itself would have had to be, well, according the Bible gives measurements, cubits, but
what is a cubit?
It's a 1 foot square or whatever.
Oh, it was the average length of a man's arm from the tip of his fingers to his elbow.
Oh,
1 cubit.
1 cubit. Psh, I see. See, wisdom.
So that's why they can't definitively say, because how big was Noah?
Right.
How long was his arm? Right?
Sure, but I mean, there's got to be like a median that they can guess, right? Noah didn't have some gangly arm that reached 30 feet.
Come on over here, Pops. We got to measure again.
1 cubit, 2 cubit. The anti-evolution crowd is pouring in. Yeah, well, I mean, they do. Let's say, do you believe God created man, or we just crawled out of the ocean as a microorganism and grew arms and legs and developed a brain?
We have had that conversation.
Yeah.
I like my explanation better.
What's yours?
God created the heavens and the earth, made us in his image. Your idea that lightning hit the mud and somehow created life, I don't know. Well, you want to maybe specify a little more detail to that?
Well, I mean, like, I'm not, so number one, I'm not a scientist. So I'm not an evolutionary biologist. So that, you know, asking me to explain the whole concept is kind of like going to the homeless guy that's, you know, got a sign on the thing and asking him for financial advice, okay? But I will tell you that it's not like lightning hitting the mud, right? So as it's understood now, life is a chemical process. And all life, as we know it, is carbon-based, right? We are made out of the same stuff as that tree over there. We have about 60% of DNA in common with most animals. Some we have 90 plus, I think it's 98% in common with chimps and bonobos. We have actual retroviral DNA that we can look at in us and them. It shows our ancestors had the same viruses and left the same viral markers on our DNA. So, as far as the genesis of life, what science will tell you is that there was a single-celled organism first. It wasn't like something, a gangly fish just appeared out of the mud when the lightning hit it. It was one cell, right? And that cell, over probably millions of years, developed the ability to make a copy of itself. So it divided within its own little membrane and went, and now there were two. We're talking, see, one of the things that makes evolution unbelievable is human beings, we live, what, 90 years if we're lucky? Our frame of reference is short. 90 years is nothing when it comes to the history of the universe, right? It's it wouldn't even be a nanosecond in the history of the universe. So we're talking about billions and billions and billions of years for these processes to slowly develop, right? But science doesn't claim to know exactly how. So here's the thing. Science has studied how these animals became these animals, became these animals. So what we do know is that if God did create life, he created it as a single-celled organism and allowed it to express all of these crazy versions of itself. We know that for a fact. We share DNA with that tree over there. Well,
common creator.
Well, sure, but he created a single-celled like we.
Why would God make some amoeba, and then that'd be awful boring waiting all those years for it to become a
God is beyond time. God exists outside of time.
Yeah, it's true.
So time doesn't exist to him. It could be a moment to him, right? We don't know the mind of God. We don't know how he perceives time, and we don't usually don't presume to know the will of God, right? And so perhaps it's true that the church is kind of behind on what God's plan really was. Maybe God's plan was to allow us to discover this common origin, right? Maybe that's why he made all and left the same genetic markers and made us all related. Maybe he wanted us to have that realization that we are that as well as us, right? That's how I look at it, because science is pretty, I mean, like, you can trace the family history of birds all the way back to a little, you know, tiny little lizard thing, right? You can trace the history of human beings back to a tiny little rodent. We can see those steps as it happened, right?
Do you think we evolved from apes?
Yeah. Well, we share 98% of our DNA with chimps and bonobos.
So why do they still exist if they evolved into us?
So we have common. We have a common
Were they
ancestor.
kind of like the retards that never got with the program?
No, we just have a common ancestor. So it's like it's like our family tree, right? At some point,
I agree with
chimps went this way, and human beings went that way. Sure, yeah,
Okay.
I'll give you that. Science doesn't have an answer for how did that first single-celled organism coalesce itself. They have theories, but they don't have an answer. They don't have a definitive answer. And I'm fine with the God of the gaps in that way, because that's what they call it. Because there's a gap in a scientific theory, God fills it, the God of the gaps. So I'm fine with the God of the gaps when science doesn't have a clear explanation for something.
I'll tell you what hurts my mind. And I think we're similar in this way. We like to have an explanation for it so we can move on because it'll haunt you. But when I start thinking about, God's always been, who made God, those kind of questions kind of tweak my mind a bit. So,
Yeah. I mean,
who made the universe.
It's deep.
So
This is a good one. Jareth says Americans exist, so why are there still Europeans?
Americans exist. Why? Are they the retards that never got with the program?
Yes. You got it. No, it really is that way. I mean, our ancestors had different selective pressures than the ancestors of chimps did. Chimps are way more adaptive to living in trees. They don't have opposable thumbs, right? So they live in trees. Our ancestors came down out of the trees and went out onto the savannas and started standing up to look over the grasses, and nature selected for tall individuals that could hold that pose for a longer time, and all of a sudden here we are upright. That thing that I had removed off of my ass, the pilonidal cyst, that thing is because we have what's called, and you have it too, everybody has one, right where our tailbone is. You know why they call it a tailbone, right?
Not because it's a tail.
It's because it's what's left of a vestigial tail. There used to be a tail back there.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, and that pilonidal cyst is a remnant of the tip of that tail. That they have very wiry hair on the end, and so it's one hair that grows. It doesn't have a sinus to come out of, so it grows inside of you, creates an abscess.
So you've evolved. You finally lost
I
your
have
tail
one.
and they cut
Well,
that thing out.
they cut that thing out, and they cut out my last little vestige of chimpdom.
Future humans will move further away from that, and there won't be any more of those kind of cysts.
One of the things that's happening in human beings, it's kind of interesting, evolutionarily speaking, is that the pinky toe is becoming worthless. Like they say that, if we live another 30,000 years or something, people are probably going to have just a little vestigial bud where there's a pinky toe. Pinky toe is like a remnant of when we were grabbing things with our feet. It's like a monkey hand, right?
Yeah.
And we don't need it anymore. It's just basically like hanging out on the edge of our foot, not really providing much benefit anymore. Because we aren't barefoot as much as we used to be, right? So if you're barefoot, the pinky toe is kind of used to maintain your balance a little bit, maybe. But if you got your shoe on, it creates a flat surface that goes with your foot everywhere, You smoke weed, Paul? Yeah. I grab TV remotes with my feet all the time. Yeah. Yeah, I still use them as grabbing devices. You know, you can tell. Like, I don't know, man.
I've seen there's a video on YouTube of a thalidomide baby that has no arms. It's just got these little flippers.
Yeah.
And grew up and became a kind of a functioning human, but would do everything with his feet.
Mm-hmm.
And he could peel a banana. He could grab a cup of coffee.
It's pretty crazy.
It was just pretty amazing. So you can adapt.
Human beings are insanely adaptable. That is one of the things that makes us so prolific, right? Like every other kind of species on this planet found its niche and went like, and kicked back. Humans found our niche. We were created in paradise, if you believe that, right? All human beings came from Central Africa at a time that it was just a blooming jungle, wilderness, just beautiful. Maybe the Garden of Eden, right? And we looked at that and we went like, I want to know what's beyond this. And we walked and we found snow and ice and we went, I want to keep going up in that and learn how to fucking live in that. And we did it. What's on the other side of that mountain? I want to conquer that. What's on the other side of that ocean? I want to go over there. No other animal is like that, you know? Every other animal kind of goes, yeah, this woodland is my world. You know what I mean? This is the borders of my world. Why would I leave it? Everything I need is here. Yeah, then we looked up at the night sky. And we're poking around at that. How do I get into that? How do I go up there? You know, it's crazy. Is God outside without time? If God is outside / without time, how can he act since action is temporal? In the conversations that I've had, God doesn't follow the rules, right? He made them. So it's like, do as I say, not as I do, right? He's the Father. So he made action temporal. So action is temporal when he says it's temporal, right? If he wants to act outside of time, he can do that because he made it. Right? He was here before that concept, theoretically, right?
I have to say, PJ would probably make a very good preacher if he came over to the light side. I like sometimes how he I don't know, very convincing arguments on really obscure things. But where does faith come in? So they've got to reach a point.
Well, sure.
We don't know. If God would just simply stick his finger down through the clouds and say, hey, you Baptists, you're doing it right. Catholics, get it together. And say, follow me. I think could change the world. But instead, he's kind of letting us struggle with our faith and try to live our lives as best we can. So I don't know. But it always comes back to, who made God and all that. Those kind of questions, I think,
so it's
fall in the faith area.
So that's where you really have a lot of pondering, right? It's like the eternal nature of God and God existing outside of the concept of time and space and dimension and all of that, right? He's everywhere, he's everything simultaneously all at once. He knows. That's the thing that gets me, is omnipotence. He knows everything, and he can do anything. Omnipotent, omniscient. So omnipotent means he can do anything. Omniscient means he knows everything. Those things are crazy. There's a lot of paradoxes there. There's a lot of questions you can ask that make that, the concept of an omnipotent being or an omniscient being, it makes it impossible. Like, so you could say that my favorite one is, could God create a rock so heavy even he couldn't lift it? If the answer is yes, then God can't lift a rock. There's something he can't do. He's not omnipotent. If the answer is no, then God can't do something, and he's not omnipotent. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of little philosophical ways to poke holes in the idea of an omnipotent being. But in my mind, that angle of attack is not one that I use a whole lot, because Christians have faith. So it's just like, if God wanted to break those rules, he could. It's the dad principle. It's the do as I say, not as I do principle. I give them that. I allow Christians that much, because to get tied up in that, right? It's just never going to go anywhere interesting. We're never going to get past the first point of, could God exist, right? I'll cede that. I can't tell you for an absolute fact that there is no God, or that the God of the Bible isn't the God of whatever, So I'm not, omnipotent myself or omniscient. I can't look under every rock and examine every molecule for God, so he might be out there. That's agnosticism, right? We talked about how agnosticism and atheism are not mutually exclusive. I'm both, right? A lot of people think of agnostic as a middle way between Christian and atheist, and it really isn't. Each molecule is God. Right, yeah. I understand that. God is everything. God is everywhere, right? That would make sense for an omnipotent, omniscient being. He would need to be. He would know every intricate detail of every cell that's currently dividing on the planet, every leaf that's opening up to the morning sun. He'd be there, right? So he would need to be, like I said, to have omniscience.
I'd like to say this idea that God knew the moment you became life, your whole life is written. He sees it. And when you're going through something really tough, divorce, death of a loved one, mom passing away, it's really hard to see anything you'd want to attribute to God. God chose that to happen to me. And I certainly, now that I'm 70, I've lived long enough to be able to look back at my life, and some of those moments have changed. My opinion has changed. Instead of just being some horrible thing that I wish I hadn't lived through, some of them have led me to where I am today. You're sitting across from me because I married your mom, but that failed so horribly, the marriage.
Did it?
But
See, that's the thing. That's a perspective that...
But
Did that marriage fail? Did that marriage fail? Your association with my mother in a continuing fashion failed, but that marriage made my sister, and all of your grandchildren on that side. You see what I mean?
And that's what the ability to have hindsight. Because when I was sleeping on a couch in an empty house and didn't have my children around me, it felt a little like death to me, and hard to see any light in that. So, but now I can look back and say, yeah, I got beautiful grandchildren, I got you and your sister, and
so are you saying
in the pain of it all? I think I would be a different person had I not gone through that pain, and perhaps it gave me the ability to console somebody that maybe is going through something similar, or
well, you're already doing that. You go to different groups and stuff, right? And you help.
I gotta think. Have you ever spoke with somebody that's had something horrible happen to them, but yet they have faith, and it's almost like extreme faith to me, much like well, I don't want to name a bunch of names, but my son-in-law's mother and father both passed away fairly close together. To the very end, they had faith. They would literally joke about seeing each other in heaven, and I'm going to beat you there, and at the very time, they knew he had a very bad heart condition, and she was dying of cancer, and it was just extraordinary to be around that.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have that kind of faith. I want it. I want to have that peace because your sister confronted me with that just a few days ago before I came here. I took her to breakfast and spent a day with my
Yeah.
daughter, and she said, "Dad, are you anxious about going to heaven?" I said, "Truthfully, I'm not really in a rush. I'd like to hang around a while longer." She says, "I'm ready. If it's my time, I kind of look forward to it. I'm anxious. Perhaps I'll get to see my grandmas, my little daughter that was stillborn, but I don't. I wish I could say I had that kind of faith, and I had to admit to her that I'm not there. Where I say, okay, God, take me. There was moments when I had cancer that I was ready to go, but it wasn't something beautiful that I look forward to. It's kind of like end this pain and take me now,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
So for somebody to be healthy and have a beautiful life, to I just don't know. I wish I could get there. I feel a little inadequate.
To me, and this is just a matter of perspective, I think that's one of the things that makes me kind of adverse to Christianity. When I hear a person that's got 8 children say that she's ready to have God take her away, that to me is just like, fuck that. You know, like but this is, my perspective is so different, right? I come at life from such a different perspective. For me, I guess I arrive at the same conclusion. I don't worry over death either, right? I know that nobody knows the hour and time of that, and there's no way to know it, and wringing your hands over it makes no sense. My perspective has me out here soaking up all this beauty and enjoying my life and my little dog and my wife and my cat and my travels, and being present in the moment is the gift. And death is just the end of that, right? It's just everything ends. Entropy is a universal law. Everything goes to the dirt. And that's why you fill your life with beauty and hopefully peace and calm and a sense of oneness with all of this around you. That's so I'm coming at life from a whole angle that is disdainful of the idea of leaving it all gleefully and too soon. I don't know.
Do you think some people stumble through life in a perpetual joyous kind of way? I think it's much like I used to have a job that was horrible, and it would be object boredom punctuated by sheer terror. When the alarms would go off, you just came unglued.
Right.
And I think life is kind of that way, and differently, not exactly
Sure.
the same, but I have these beautiful moments in my life, the birth of my son, my daughter. Those moments just change you fundamentally, and it's like you have to believe in a higher power because it's just so extraordinary. How could this good thing happen to me? I'm so inadequate. So life, I seek those moments, and I think we've had a few of those moments this time I've been with you.
Well, sure.
That I see you differently. I see my son proud. Even though I know a lot more about your job than I ever did, and I think that helps me know you a bit.
Well, you know more about my job than anybody in my family does now, because you've actually taken
quite honestly,
you've taken the time to look past the stuff that is repellent and see that there's something going on there that isn't just poopy dick fart. And that's, I understand. I do think that stuff is funny. I am that way. I'm a little juvenile, okay? But I think that if I were to pick my mom's brain about what I do, or my sister's brain about what I do, right? That it would be you just cuss on the internet or whatever,
I'll have to
It kind of sucks.
I have to share something your sister said to me about you.
Oh, okay, yeah.
She said, "Dad, just imagine if PJ somehow became a Christian, how many lives he could touch and change."
What if I'm touching and changing lives,
For
doing
the
what I'm
good.
what I'm?
Maybe I didn't finish. For the good.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
Not
Oh, fair enough.
corruption.
Okay, yeah, that changes. Okay, that's a horse of a different color.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you are influencing people.
No, I am, and I get people all the time who will say, "Hey," even over me and you talking, I've had several people reach out and say, "Hey, I lost my dad, or me and my dad are estranged, and hearing you and your dad talk frankly about your estrangement and how it felt from both sides." Oh, Tynor's.
She's loving on me. It's a moment.
Yeah, but
I have this moment with my dog.
You're here for 2 more
I'm
days.
putting him in a cage and flying home.
Man, don't tempt me, man.
Oh.
Don't tempt me. His little poo butt. No.
If we could all be so innocent and love each other like this dog does, I think the
Oh,
world
yeah.
would be a better place.
No, for sure.
I'm really grown attached to this dog.
No, Dinor's the best. He and everybody's like that with him too. So her dad.
It's special. Don't tell me that. It's special what I have with.
Well, no. I mean, it is. That's the thing. Is no.
Don't minimize it like that.
Her dad.
This dog only loves me like this.
Yeah, her dad hates animals. Not hates, but he's not a dog. He's not a dog person. He doesn't want to have a dog. He's not a cat person, right? Both of these animals. Like so we I took Dinor over to Mom's house, and her dad was traveling through town, so we all got together and they got to meet her dad. And we were sitting out on Mom's back porch. You know how it is; it's very comfy back there.
Yeah.
Dinor was bugging him, and he wasn't like, "Get out of here," but he would just shoo him a little bit, like, no. We were talking. About 10, 15, 20 minutes into the talk, I noticed Dinor was in his lap just like that, and he was petting him. Just absent-mindedly. Dinor is going to, he doesn't care if you're not a dog person. He's going to come find you anyway.
Yeah.
And he's going to make you a dog person.
He's got to be on every person's lap.
Yeah. He's a good boy.
Good point. I think it's a shame they don't live long enough.
Yeah.
It's so painful when they get old.
He's still a healthy boy. He's still racing up and down the stairs.
Can I give you my perspective on that? I've lost a lot of dogs. And my perspective on that is that they live just the right amount of time. I really do think that. If they don't die like Boogie did at 5, that's ridiculous. But, when they live 10 years, 15 years, it's like I think it almost prepares us for that cycle in our relatives in a certain way. I think if we didn't have to go through that, if I hadn't had to go through that, right, I think it would be a harder thing for me to face, losing a loved one. Not that it's an easy thing.
So, like the pet cemetery message.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, that's why pets are here.
Where did Pet Cemetery come into our conversation?
Well, that's the message of
That's
Pet
the message
Cemetery.
of Pet Cemetery, is that,
the first animal dying's hard, but for a kid it teaches them what death is.
Right.
There comes a torpedo. That's her job in the conversation.
No, she's right.
I know she's right. It's still a torpedo.
Oh, I remember the question I had. My dog passed recently. I remember that you had a statue of Boogie. I was curious where you got it. I wish I could tell you. It was a lady that lived in Fresno, California, and she donated her time to an organization called ARF that I used to volunteer for, ARF Animal Rescue Fresno. They're a no-kill shelter there in Fresno. Really great. And they used to do this little, craft fair sale thing where, little, people would come and they would It all like some of the proceeds to are, so it fed, the money making thing for them. And she was there. She had a booth, and she had a bunch of these little statues. Some of them were big, man. She made she made terracotta statues of people's dogs, and she took your dog's measurements and made them exact. So like if you have a big, she didn't have any Great Dane statues there, but something tells me that lady would have figured it out. She had some big dogs. She had she would do them in sitting poses, because that's more stable. She wouldn't have to worry about the legs and all that. So she would do your dog in a sitting pose, the real size that they were, and she would capture their essence. And she did a really bang up job with that. I'm sure there's other people that do stuff like that, but how do you find one? I don't know. That's just a real special keepsake of mine,
Go to your local craft fairs and stuff. It's
Yeah,
the best bet.
go to Renaissance fairs and craft fairs. Local artists. We met a dude the other day when we were on the road that was making a stained glass window. We went into his little shop, and he was doing his little stained glass window, and it was real interesting to see the pattern laid out and how he did it. So, you gotta go out and get out of Walmart is the idea. Go to a crafty, go to a little beach town that's got a lot of little craft shops. You'll find some crazy stuff, man. His dog was named Boogie. Yeah. Oh, Boognish was her real name, but we don't speak that blasphemous name. Not in front of my father. He's a Christian, okay? Boognish is a demon. But I've tried to tell him she was adorable, but she was a little evil.
Have they seen your statue?
Yeah. I'm showing it.
That was well done. Much better than taxidermy, which some people do with their cats.
No
that
thanks.
Makes cats a little creepy. But that honors the pet. And
Yep.
It's kind of nice to look up there and remember.
Mm-hmm. And her little collar is still there. I kept that spiked collar. If you go look at it, because she was evil. She loved that collar. Oh my God, she was just like Dinor, where she if it was off, she was pissed.
Yeah. I tried getting one for Cricket one time, but it was way too big.
Yeah. The Boognish is a really great guy, Boognish there's this band I really like called Ween, and they have like a narrative around their band, and it's that this demon god forces them to make their music. It's just color,
Yeah.
But I like that band, and so when it came time to name Boogie, I was really pulling for that name. I didn't get to pull the trigger on it, but I liked that name more than the other ones that were on the table. I've never gotten to name a dog. I've always been saddled with somebody else's naming of my dog. I didn't name Dinor. I never would have named him Dinor. Are you kidding me?
Kind of a cool name.
Dinosaur without the S. That's all it is. Dinosaur, drop the S. Dinor. I wouldn't have done it, but I think it fits him. He is a Dinor, 100%. It fits him, I will admit, but I would not have. I would have named him like Winston or like Thaddeus or Stradivarius, Concubine. I don't know, some big. I would have went through the thesaurus, man. I would have found me a cool word. What names do you like? I don't know, man. I think maybe it's more about me that I've never named a dog than about other people. Because I think I feel like I don't really want to be saddled with that responsibility. Yeah. Because if it sucks, then I have to explain to everybody I'm a retard and I named my dog this. At least now I can go like, my ex-girlfriend named him. I don't know what the fuck she was thinking. Dude, I missed seeing Ween live on a lark. I was when I was with my ex-wife, we were traveling to Santa Cruz, California. She had a friend that went to college up there, and we were downtown in Santa Cruz, and I just happened to notice, like, up on the marquee of one of them little rock things there, Ween tonight, you know. I was like, oh shit, and I went and they were sold out. And we were walking and talking about how cool Ween was. So me, my ex-wife, and her best friend walking down the street in Santa Cruz going, oh man, fuck, man, Ween is sold out. I didn't even know they were here, you know. And a dude walking about 10 paces in front of us turns around and goes like, yeah, Ween rocks. And they went like, the girls went like, yeah, and I just paused. And they kept walking, and they were like, what? And I was like, that's Gene Ween. It's the lead singer.
Pretty cool.
And so we followed him. He went into his hotel. There was a Starbucks across the street, so we sat there and waited. Because I was going to go approach him and ask for his autograph. But when he came out, because I knew he had to play, so we waited for him, and when he came out, I did I walked up behind him, and he was on a cell phone, and I could tell that he was like busy. And I'm not a paparazzi. I couldn't do it, man. I couldn't be like, Gina, give me your autograph, bro. I couldn't do it because he was just busy. You know, he was like, man, I'm on my way, blah, 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 blah. You know, I was like, all right. Well, you know, if I was more boisterous and imposing of a person, I might have gotten snuck into that show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I might have been like, Gina, dude, I'm your biggest fan, man. And I just was in town. I didn't even know you guys were here. Please, man, can you get me in? He might have done it. But, you know.
He might have not. Like,
yeah, he might have been
like,
like,
a big fan, you'd know I was playing here 6 months.
yeah, he'd be like, yeah, man, if you're a big fan, you know where I'm at. No, I don't think they're like that. I think I would have been able to weasel Gina. But it just felt wrong. It felt wrong to impose on him just because he does that for a job. Mm-hmm. You know. So, but yeah, I definitely felt like a paparazzi there for a minute, waiting in the Starbucks, like, I know he's in there, you know, it's like, ugh. But no, that was cool. So crazy. So crazy to bump into Gina in the street. You remember we saw Matthew Broderick in New York?
Yeah.
We were by that t-shirt shop that was like a block from the theater where he did How to Succeed. And he...
Average guy. Right?
Yeah. He had his glasses on. He was just walking and nobody was noticing him. He's just on the streets of New York. And we didn't approach him either. Remember that?
Serendipity.
Yeah.
It was like How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying.
Mm-hmm. It's a great show.
It was a good show.
Cats, not so much. I could have done without cats.
I think maybe women like cats.
Yeah.
Drag their men along.
Yeah, that's for the dames. Yeah. Cats is for the broads.
At the time, it was the longest running, show on Broadway.
It might have been a better show when it was on big Broadway. Maybe it was kind of chintzy on the small, because we saw it off Broadway, because that's all it was. But the How to Succeed was in a big on Broadway theater, and that was just so good.
Really good.
You know, they did that at Madera High the year after I left, and Morgan played the lead, and he knocked it out.
Perfect for him.
Yeah.
I really dig it when you do go on Broadway. They get the orchestra below the stage and the conductor standing, at the base. It's just kind of really cool for me.
Oh yeah, I get the chills when I go to a theater performance. It's like because I'll look at it and it's like my mind kicks into this state where I have a realization of all of like what's going on to make this moment, right? And then all of it melts away and I'm there in the moment. I get these chills. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, it's just too good.
It's when I'm coming together.
Yes.
Like it's supposed to. Yeah.
Because I've been back there. I've done stage work, stagehand work, and lighting work, and when you do theater, you learn a little bit at least about how to do all that, set construction, all that stuff. And so when I look at the stage, I have this moment where I see all of that craftsmanship and all of that just to make this moment where the moon comes out, behind I'm like, oh, it's just it doesn't happen to me with movies, doesn't happen to me anywhere other than live performance. Happens to me at concerts when an artist is just at the peak of their art and I'm there getting to see them, you know what I mean? And it happens at plays. That's it.
Did you get mad at one theater thing for them not wandering
Yeah,
around?
the Soroyan in Fresno.
Mm-hmm.
So my ex-wife's parents got us a season ticket to the Broadway shows there.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. We got to see a bunch of just amazing shows. We got to see Wicked. We got to see. I'm trying to remember what was on
because it was surprisingly good.
Oh yeah.
And,
I haven't seen the movie yet, but I
wonder was I going to those with you? Guys and Dolls we saw. No, maybe that was a different season.
Yeah, I think we went and saw Guys and Dolls together, but that was way earlier in life. Yeah.
I have to say, I'm trying to think, other than Cats, I don't think I've ever been disappointed when I went to see a Broadway play.
Well, this
There's
one...
always something in there that's just amazing.
This one was Oliver Twist, right? Which I was cool. I've never seen this play, right? And we get there, we show up, and we have our little seats. So we get in our seats, and I'm looking up on the stage, and there are... they had no curtain up because the stage came out onto the proscenium, so they couldn't put the curtain because it would have chopped, so they had this big, beautiful set built. And there are people dressed in 18th century Londoners lounging around on the set with their cell phones, stretching, warming up, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Isn't there a rule against that?
Dude, you went to my high school productions.
Oh, it was somebody you knew.
No. You went to my... I'm saying you.
Yeah,
you went to my high school productions. Did you ever see, when you came to watch us on the show, people in costume lounging on the set, on phones, bullshitting, stretching? Hell no. We had a modicum of respect for the audience and the art form. And I was so pissed off that I looked at my ex-wife and I said, we're leaving.
Yeah.
I said, fuck this. I'm not going to be disrespected, and I'm not going to reward them for disrespecting. So I went down and I bitched a fit, and we got a fucking pass to a free one because of that.
Is there a name for that? I know often if an actor breaks character and speaks to the audience, that's called breaking something.
Breaking the fourth wall.
Fourth wall. So was that?
That wasn't even
is
that.
There a name for that? Because it.
Well, it's unintentionally. It's breaking the fourth wall, but not in service of the play. It's like killing the magic. You see people in house lights.
Yeah.
So not even the stage lighting is on. You see people in full costume and makeup, in house lights, on cell phones, dressed. You know what I mean? Fuck that.
Yes. I agree with you there.
It just, I don't know. It just pissed me off. Sorry, it pisses me off just to think of it. Because it's just like, man, you got no respect. You got no respect for what it is you're getting to do for a living. You are traveling in a Broadway theater troupe. It's probably the coolest thing you'll ever do in your fucking life. And you don't even know it. And you don't care about the people that paid hundreds of dollars to come watch you do it. And your director and your stage manager for letting you be that way. They couldn't chill off stage? They could. It's the Soroyan. They've got a giant green room area. They've got a giant backstage. They just didn't give a fuck. Just didn't care. So I still, yet I have not seen Oliver Twist. I've never, I've been to little high school productions and myself, when I'm in town and there's one planned, I've gone a couple of times in the past, and I've never seen, even at that level, disrespect for the art at all. Ginger retired.
Oh, yeah, it's getting old.
Yeah.
Getting old.
Yeah.
A lot of that going around. So, yeah, is she still helping out, active at all?
Oh, I'm sure she is. I think she'll be over there with her hands in that till the day she dies.
I think that's probably what got you going in, her love for that form of art. She drew you into her love.
That story is interesting, man, because like freshman year of high school, it was rough for me, man. Depression had really kicked in by that point in my life, and I had kind of fallen in with some stoners, and I was, getting high before school, and then showing up, and I had first period drama 1, and I had taken it because I was like, this will be a breeze. Man, this is an easy A.
That's the only reason you took that class?
Oh yeah, because they were like, choose an elective.
Yeah.
And it was like football. I was like, fuck that.
There'll be no homework here.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take that out.
I knew that she'd probably there'd be homework, but I was like, it's gonna be a breeze class. I'm an extrovert when I need to be. You know what I mean? I like being the center of attention. I'm just gonna whiz my way through this, and it's gonna be great. That's why I took it. And so I would show up first period, stoned off my ass, sitting there, absorbing when she would talk and all that. I think it was the second day of class. She said, all right, you're dismissed. And I got up and she said, Mr. Parkey, my office. All right. She had a little office attached right to the classroom. And I said, okay. And so I went in there with my backpack, and she goes, I want to tell you something. She said, you are not going to cruise through this. She said, you're a talented guy, and that's bad news for you, because it means that you're not going to be able to get stoned and come to my class anymore, because I'm putting you in a show, and I'm giving you a speaking role in that show. I was like, so she put me in freshman year, Steel Magnolias, and I was the taxi driver, who is this breakout character who's funny, comes to the window, gets a big laugh or two, and then is gone. And it changed my whole life. Doing that, it was the most fun I ever had. It just made me feel alive, and she saw it, and she just straight up told me. She's like, this is no easy A for you. You're held to a higher, I'm putting you in, because like no drama 1 ever did anything other than extra work, right? Like where you're background or you're in the back, and barely even that, right? Drama 2 was where performance started. That's usually where they pulled all the people from, because it's the kids that cared enough to want to be in the shows. My first year, she had me out there, tried out for that show. She made me do the tryout too. She's like, I'm putting you in there. She's like, I'll let you stand there like a piece of furniture. Oh, or maybe I'll give you a line or two, but you're in the show, and your grade is going to be tied to that. So.
And she kept the rest of your grades up too.
Well, I mean, because it was almost ingenious.
Yeah.
That it was my first period, because once I would go in there, my blood would get up, I would be glad I wasn't high, and the rest of my teachers got a little bit more of my attention, because after school was practice. So I had to get through the day and not be stoned off my ass for practice. And so it gave me a reason to not be a pothead all through school and not do well in school. which is crazy.
Well, didn't they threaten you of losing drama if you didn't have your grades up too?
Well, I mean, sure, yeah. If I had, yeah, that's another incentive, right? Is that if I had gotten all Fs, they'd have pulled my ass out of drama. You get pulled out of your electives. You don't get to take electives if you're failing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't have let you do all the field trips.
Yeah, I wouldn't have got to travel and do the field trips if I was failing classes. Yeah.
I have to say, I've noticed, and you say when you go to a concert and seeing them live, it's a little different than watching the video.
Mm-hmm.
I call it becoming. When a person comes out on stage and they're really into the song, when they're singing it, they become the song, kind of. They emote. And you can tell it's sincere. It's not some put on just for the audience.
Yeah.
They kind of get lost a bit in the character. And I saw that in you when I would go to see your plays. You became that character. It was, I don't know if afterwards you kind of often would go slip into that character or whatever. You do that even now, though I hear you imitating things.
Yeah.
But that magic draws people in. And that will get people to come back and see it time and time again. Yeah. It's just crazy. The guy is that person, you know?
Yeah.
So you had that ability. That must have been what she saw in you.
Well, they had she had us get up the first day and do like improv stuff to like get people used to, you know, get the shy kids used to what was, because a lot of kids drop. You know, they'll be like, okay, no, this ain't for me. I want to go over here. So it's. I think she was weeding those kids out, and you know me, stoned or not, ham bone that I am, I got up there and blah 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 blah, and she that second day or third day, I can't remember. It was that first week, pulled me in. Was she an old or young teacher? Well,
she was hot.
You thought she was hot?
I thought she, of course, I'm older than you. Maybe.
Well, okay, all right, fair enough. Hey, I never do that.
In the office, you didn't think, hey.
No. She was mom, dude. She was my mom's age. She was just such a mom, bro.
She wasn't a hot mom.
No, she wasn't a milfer. She was, you know, she was just too mom.
Your dad's breaking your illusion. He was just crushing on your drama.
I know, you old hound dog. No. What strain are you smoking today?
Gelato cake.
Gelato cake. I don't know why that fucking matters, but there you go, bud. Well, just like my dad with my teachers, yeah.
Is that common?
I guess so,
Dad's
probably.
crush on your
Well, of course,
teachers,
because they're all your age. You know, they're all in your age group.
I think we all had a teacher that we kind of crushed on, at least by high school.
Mine happened earlier.
I had an English teacher that wore short skirts and was just beautiful. And we didn't learn anything.
Mrs. B? Mrs. B?
I can't remember
B
her name.
for her last name?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Well, it would have been a long time.
Well, there was a teacher
in between.
There was a teacher that had you and had me. She was an old lady by the time she had me. Mrs. Benson?
Oh, now we're getting it. That was her. That's weird. Was she still kind of hot when you were in there?
No, she was an old lady.
Come on.
You went to my open house, you know, where they do that, like they bring the parents in. Parent teacher night or whatever, where you go meet my teachers, and she ragged on me because she was like, he is not living up to his potential, he does not pay attention, blah blah blah. And I remember you asked her, what's his grade? And she was like, well, he's getting an A-, and you were like, you know, I was like
I was brain dead in your class, so that'd be an improvement.
I think she had a grudge against you because of him. I think she caught the vibes.
She knew you were a hound dog, and then I have the same name. She's like, he's back. That Parky kid is back. But, you know, she hated my guts, man. She groused every time that there was a competition. She was the only teacher I had to worry about not signing off. And, of course, every time I got to the point with her where I was like, Miss Benson, I'm going to Amador. She'd be like, no, you are not. You are not missing. I do not like you missing out on instruction. And I said, Miss Benson, I'm just going to take this note down to the vice principal, and he's going to sign it.
Like you probably always did.
Yeah, I was like, it's ridiculous. I'm at this point, please. I'm not signing it. I think it's ridiculous that you're out of my class. She always signed. You know who she always signed for though? Football players. The football players had to miss a day for a game. Here you go. And I know them motherfuckers weren't getting an A. So, you know, she had something against me.
And
I don't
now
know.
that you know that your dad was crushing on her.
Now that I know that you were slavering over her.
It wasn't just me.
It was everybody.
Beautiful short skirt. Where she put this tall stool out in front of us, she wouldn't walk around. She sat on that, cross her legs. Yeah, as a teenager, I mean, who could resist? And she was gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you say she kind of aged poorly? Is that what?
She was just an old lady.
She wasn't fat.
No.
Oh, okay.
You just didn't have a thing for old ladies.
Yeah, I just didn't want to. And she hated me, so it made me even like her less. No, mine was in 7th and 8th grade. I went out to Howard School, and instead of because in a lot of middle schools they have you have different teachers.
Yeah.
But I had one teacher. It's kind of weird, but Miss Divine, I was absolutely head over heels in love with her.
And how about that name?
I know. Well, here's the let me give you a little background. Obviously all the boys. She was a first year teacher right out of college. All the boys were in love with her.
Yeah, that's what happened with mine. Like one of the first year teachers, all the girls were interested in him
Mm-hmm.
because he was still kind of young.
Yeah. And I thought because she made a big to-do, like, this is my first year teaching, and I just got out of college, so I'll be learning with you and all that. I thought that meant she's not married. I can get her. Right? And so I went through pretty much the whole year of 7th grade with her, thinking in the back of my mind. And I was... Dude, when she was like, I need somebody who will be class assistant to help me, I was like, yes, Mr. Vine. Yes, Mr. Vine. You know, and so I had my desk next to her desk so I could help her hand out papers and blah, blah, blah. And I would stay in at recess and help her clean up the class. Oh, you're so nice, Mr. Parkey. That's so nice of you. Okay, Mr. Vine. You know, and then one day she comes in and she goes, well, I have a very special presentation today. I've got a doctor here with me, and I've got some pictures to show you. And she put a picture up, and it was an ultrasound. And she says, well, Miss Divine is going to have a baby. And I was like,
cheater.
Bitch!
How dare you?
You dog! But I found out she was married to a guy named Paul. It crushed me. It crushed me. It destroyed me. I was destroyed.
You know, you see it in the news often, these teachers that kind of cross the line with the student. I had none of those teachers.
I know.
Miss Divine could have been that one for you if you just had a little more game.
Yeah.
Did you not wear her wedding ring or something, or you just didn't know?
I was a kid, man. Girls wear rings. I didn't know what that was.
That would just make it more of a challenge.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No. Yeah, but I'll tell you what is funny. Here's a funny story. So obviously I graduated, right? I go to work for Starbucks in Arizona, and then I came back to Fresno, and I'm working at the Shaw and Mark Starbucks in Fresno, slinging coffee. And I'm on bar that day, so I'm making drinks, man. I'm not the customer guy. I'm the guy that puts the drink out and calls your name, and I'm back to making them, right? Put the drink out. I always tried to make eye contact and say, hey, thank you. You know, here's your cappuccino. I put the drink down, and I went, it was her. All those years later, I was probably like 25 at the time. All those years later, she still had me. She was just like, hello, Mr. Parkey.
Your mind went there.
I was like, oh
Maybe
my
she's divorced.
I was like, oh my God, Miss Divine. Hello. I'm sorry. Let me remake this drink. It's garbage. Oh. No, it wasn't that bad, but it was funny how my heart skipped a beat all those years later just seeing her. So funny.
But yeah, for some reason, the guys in my school had a thing for the older teachers.
Older.
Like the guys
Oh.
were crushing on one of the older teachers that was like maybe in her 40s or something.
Well, I mean, 40s that's borderline, I guess. I don't know, man. We just didn't have it. I personally, because I always had like a little girl I was crushing on, especially in high school. Like I met Tammy freshman year, and it was over for me. That was basically my high school experience, was chasing after that girl. And yeah, so I never really had time to crush on a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a room.
What are you shivering for, dude?
Yeah, 40s is like mom. You know, that's I remember that's how I thought of my teachers that were in that teacher age, 40 plus ish, 30, late 30s, early 40s. That's mom. You know. That's not a sex
I think
object.
there was more mommy issues maybe in my class.
Yeah, maybe so. Hey, look, I'm not speaking for the experience of the other boys in my grade. Maybe they'd tell a different story, but no, I chased after a girl that was in the same grade as me. Just, you know, like it was an omen. She couldn't have been an older girl, so she rotated out and forced me to get over her. Mm-hmm. No, all 4 years with her, and she was in drama, of course. Because why wouldn't she be? Was she the one who dragged you along? Yeah. Kind of led me on. I have a different perspective on it now. I just think we were kids, and she didn't know what she wanted, and I knew what I wanted. You know, I was ready to get down on bended knee and have babies with her, and she was like,
that was that model girl. Real beautiful girl.
She ended up being a model. Yeah.
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 I remember her.
You know, I mean, and
she explained it to you years later.
Kinda, yeah. We reconnected years and years later, and she just said, you know, she was like, I was not ready to commit, but she was like, it was unfair to you because I didn't want to see you with anybody else. Mm-hmm. So it was just very unfair to you. And I was like, yeah, well, you know, we were kids. By that point, I had very little salt about it left, and talking to her kind of quashed all the salt. I see it differently now, you know.
Forgiveness.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, forgiveness. But yeah, it was just interesting though. It made me have a different high school experience, I think, than a lot of my peers did. Because, you know, all my peers, they dated different girls, and, you know, they had their breakups happen and all of that. And I never even really got the girl to say she was going steady or my girlfriend or whatever. We did the things boyfriends and girlfriends did, but publicly it was never public. It was never like, you know, so that it was weird. It was a strange high school experience. See, this is how Dad is different. If Dad had not progressed, he'd be razzing me right now for getting led around by the ding dong my whole high school career. See?
My best friend and I razzed PJ during that time.
Oh my God, you guys were brutal, man. Yeah, it was funny though. Like it was so. I couldn't help but laugh. You know what I mean? That's it. I was laughing with you as you laughed at me. You know, it was fun.
It was pretty hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah, but you guys were pretty brutal. I think Dean was more brutal, but you were pretty brutal too.
I think Dean corrupted me a bit, and it got handed off to you.
Well, I'm glad.
He's quite a character.
Ultimately, it informed my personality in a big way, and I like that. I like Paul. So I would hang out with me. That's the extent of my self-love. That's where it begins and ends. It's like, dude, would I hang out with this ape? The answer is yeah. He looks like he'd probably be pretty fun to hang out with. I think I'm okay. Yeah.
Wanna go in with him? Eat your brekkie finally.
Eat your brekkie. Seen any good movies lately? What was the name of that movie? I'm trying to pimp it more. The Immaculate Room.
Yeah.
That movie was pretty good.
Wasn't like super high budget or nothing, but
No, it was a
interesting.
chamber film, and it was pretty good. Yeah, check it out.
Like I wouldn't like have like insane. It's not the Cube or whatever.
No, it's not the greatest movie ever made, but it's worth checking out. I'd never heard of it, and we watched it on a whim, and it ended up being pretty good. I feel like we were batting 1,000 there for a couple of weeks at just
Yeah.
picking an obscure movie.
Yeah. Back already?
Hello.
Couldn't eat
Do
anything.
you need some more coffee, Daddy?
No,
You sure?
I went in there and debated it, and I don't think I need any more.
What about you, babe?
Yeah, I'd probably do a warm up if that's okay.
Did you make a full pot?
Yeah. You seen Sinners yet? No. I want to go see that. I thought I might go see it with Dad, but he said he's not a big horror fan, so I don't want to have him sitting there cringing his way through a movie. There ain't really nothing else out that I'm even remotely
You know you
interested
want to
in.
see Minecraft.
Chicken jockey.
There's some hilarious stuff in that movie.
Man, thank you, baby. But no, I haven't had time to watch any movies in the last few days because I've been talking or driving or both. No, but that's good though. This has been really nice. I think you're one of the only people in my life that could actually be okay with sitting and yakking for as long as me and you have sat and yacked. And that's good. I think that's a little father-son commonality there. It's been neat for me, you know what I mean? We haven't gotten to spend this much time together since I was probably like, you know what I mean? Like, because you were working even when I was a kid. So it's like maybe hardly ever, if you think about it, have we been able to spend 10 contiguous days where it's like we're with each other, you know? We wake up, good morning, we say good night, spent all day together. I don't know, you know?
Did you have some apprehension looking at me being here for 10 days, thinking this could go kind of sideways or?
No.
Yeah.
I know I'm a good host, and I know that, like, you know, you weren't going to have need of anything in that way that was going to make you want to leave. And I know that we weren't, you know, no, I didn't really worry. I worried on my end of it, you know, just that, I don't know. I don't know what I was worried about, to be honest with you, now that I think about it. That's the nature of worry, isn't it? Sometimes it's just over nothing.
Yeah.
But I think it was, you know, you
I
just,
think I had apprehension. I wanted it to go well.
yeah.
So, sometimes we can't control how things go.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I overthink things sometimes, and just be yourself. It always seems to work with you and I, at least.
Yeah, with you and I.
I don't think you're putting anything on.
Oh, no.
And I feel safe enough to be myself with you.
Yeah.
I think we're in a good place with that.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, it is probably the first time as an adult that we've spent time together. And there's a big chunk of that we missed.
Yeah.
I was out consulting all over the country.
Yeah.
Prior to that, so yeah.
That was a rough time. That was hard for me. I knew you were doing good, but it was hard. Just seeing you, just because you'd pull into town, we'd go get lunch, and then you'd be on the road again. And that's a lot of my life unfolded there. It was pretty crazy times. Yeah. One of those things. That's why I say, like, it's special that, and then I kind of told you candidly that, I don't mind sharing it with people. Like, I'm typically the one that goes to visit family because I'm the one that moved away, right? And so I feel like that's kind of the transaction. But it's nice to have somebody come and stay. And it's also nice to have somebody to come and stay that's tolerant of my lifestyle being as it is. You know what I mean? You don't seem to care that I prioritize downtime and stuff, being in nature and being out here and not racing all over town trying to catch every little thing and go to every little restaurant. I don't really care about that shit. I'm happy to do it, if a guest needs that, but it would have been tough. I guess maybe that's what I was worried about. If anything, that you were going to come here and be like, I want to go do this. And like every day was going to be jam-packed and you were going to come with a list. Guess we haven't traveled together in a long time. That was an unfounded worry because we traveled so well together when we did. That New York trip was so fun.
Yeah.
I think we might be the only two people that would have considered that fun too, because it was just so seat of your pants. And I don't know if a lot of people would have made it to get settled in there and find a little walk up to rent and, find our way around the city to the subways and stuff. Like that's how I travel now, with no plan, just kind of like, what do you want to do today? And so maybe it was an unfounded worry, but I think maybe that was the foundation of a lot of the worry, because I get worn out, not physically, but just mentally pretty easily. I need peace. I need to feel like I'm secure, and it's hard for me, I guess, in public sometimes.
Well, I have to say, you moving so far away from family, was a concern that having met Amelia's parents and seeing how her whole family just loves PJ, and they're all kind of grouped together here, so it's almost like, not, I'm a little jealous a bit, but it's kind of nice to know you have a big family around you that you will see. You guys meet often.
Yeah.
Had a wonderful dinner together, and chatty people, hilarious. I think I really had a good time with that dinner. They welcomed me, because of course they love PJ.
Of course.
So that's my claim to fame. So instantly they were nice to me.
Yeah. I mean, that as I was telling you, I think any time that I moved away, other than Arizona, I had that. You know what I mean? Arizona, I didn't have, I wasn't dating somebody whose family was there or nothing. So I really didn't have that kind of experience in Arizona. But once I came back, I've always had that. I've always had family of some type near me. And I've always, my mom worries over that, I think, more than anybody. And I've always tried to tell her, I let her know, hey, I'm all right, I'm this, I'm that, but it's never enough. I was listening on the road yesterday to that song, When Doves Cry by Prince. Uh, She's never satisfied. Yeah, you know. And then there's you won't like the father one. Maybe I'm just like my father, too old. It's like
Perhaps I am a bit old.
no, but I was just like listening to that and thinking about mom because I do think of her that way sometimes. I know it's out of love, but I don't think she would be satisfied with any amount of me that I could possibly provide and have a life. And I'm glad that she, has found her niche and all of that. She's got a lot of family and around her and all that. But yeah, she wants me to be there. I can't, man. I can't live in that Central Valley anymore, man. It was killing me just to be there. My lungs were worse. You know what I mean? My allergies were horrible. I'd wake up every day to sneeze and nose running, coughing. I don't do that here because the air is clean here, you know. So I just can't do it. Man, those summers were killing me. You know, and I've tried to work my persuasive magic on mom and get her to move somewhere else, but it ain't happening, man. No magic is gonna get her to leave her grandchildren behind. So, but I just can't. I can't do it. I can't. I don't see a future for myself there. I don't see my business doing better because I'm there. Because I'm mentally worse and physically worse when I'm there. So I gotta go. I gotta be where I'm at. When Doves Cry is one of those interesting songs that has no bass line, if you recall. Yeah. I don't know. You have your phone? Can you ask AI when Doves Cry have a bass line?
Does the song When Doves Cry have a bass line? There is no bass line, which is very unusual for an 80s song.
Interesting.
Prince said there was originally a bass line, but after conversation decided to pull it out.
Wow. That is a very like recognizable song. So yeah, it's one of those earworm type of songs that'll get stuck in my head. And yeah, that's interesting. I did not know that. Cool factoid. Thanks. Thanks, Nick. See, that's the type of comment I like. That's the type. You know what? He's a moderator now. Nick's been around a long time. He's never been a retard. Good moderator. Never asked me to be a moderator. That's one way you know you never ever get to be a moderator, by asking for it. Not a single person on the team has asked for it. I bestow that privilege. Oh man. Hello. Hello, my friend. Hello, my little friend. How are you? How are you? Did you get your brekkie or no? Your brekkie.
Yeah, he didn't even, doesn't look like he touched it.
Too excited. You want to go inside? Yeah. Okay. I'll let you in. Go get your brekkie. What is Paul's Dad think of the first American Pope? We didn't even know the Pope they selected a Pope?
Trump.
Oh, it's Trump? He did it? He's the Pope? Trump is such a troll, bro. He lit the world on fire. He just goes like, I'm very interested in the Pope. Yeah, I'd like that. I'd like to be the Pope. Yeah, I find that interesting. Yeah. And the whole world is just talking about it for years. Wait, they actually selected a Pope, and he's American.
Wow.
Okay, and that will be the first American Pope, Cardinal Robert Francis.
Robert Francis.
And he's taking the Pope named Leo. Pope Leo. Dude, Planet America, bitches. We're in your Vatican now. What are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do about it, man? Let the eagle soar. Oh, you are screwed. Oh, we got you now, man. Put a McDonald's in the Vatican right now. Put a McDonald's in the Vatican. The golden arches will fly over Vatican City. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. I love it. Why American at this time in our history? That's just asking for the fall of the Vatican. I don't know. We'll see. Hey, at least it's not a Chinese Pope. That would have been a bad sign. America still got it, baby. Still got it. We got the papacy now. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You can't say shit. You can't question us anymore. We've got literally the messenger of God is with us now. It's over. He's got the robe. He's got can you imagine how badass his Pope mobile is going to be? He's going to ride in a tank. An Abrams. Does he look like a Billy badass, I wonder? I don't know. We'll have to see.
I'm looking it up.
Oh, boy.
Pope Leo.
Oh, dude, yeah. He better have the drippiest, sickest Pope hat and the coolest red ruby slippers. He better.
Well, apparently that's a common Pope name.
Leo, yeah, it is.
So,
He's Leo the 8th or something.
the 8th? Okay, let's see if that...
Well, I don't know. He probably isn't.
No, he died in 1903.
Okay, so definitely not.
Not the 8th, so we must be much higher.
He was elected to cardinal in 2023. He made Pope within 2 years. That's kind of crazy. Appointed by Francis, I think they said 87% of the cardinalcy was appointed by Francis. So that would definitely be him, too. That's a really quick conclave, too. They didn't really argue because it started yesterday. And this morning, or this afternoon, I guess, they already have one. I know you're talking about the Pope, but I wanted to say you look like Thor from Avengers Endgame. That's actually a compliment. Thanks. Get banned. Get that ass banned. It's been people waiting to be Pope for decades. Yeah.
This is Pope Leo.
Okay. Shit.
He doesn't look charismatic, but is he?
Oh man, as soon as you flipped that phone over, you know what the word that came to my mind is? Fiddler. He looks like a diddler. God, man.
In what respect? You mean little children kind of thing?
You know what I'm talking about.
Oh,
He's a gooser. He's a gooser. You can tell. Oh, man, you could tell he's a gooser, man. Oh, no. He's a gooser. Oh, of course he is. He's a Catholic Pope, Catholic Cardinal. But, man, why can't we get a big, burly, bearded guy in there, man? I was hoping. God, he doesn't even look American. He looks like he's Italian or some shit. Who would you make Pope? Jesse Ventura? Pope Jesse Ventura? Pope the Rock. Pope Dwayne the Rock Johnson. Yeah.
First American Pope. That's the guy.
Oh, man. Well, you know, looks can be deceiving.
Trump says he looks forward to meeting him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Probably going to put a tariff on him.
Nah, he's an agent of Trump's, dude. Trump sent this guy in, man. Pope Arnold. Oh, yeah. Pope Arnold Schwarzenegger. That'd be pretty good. Pope Rock would take care of the devil real quick. Yeah, he would lay the smack down on the devil's Rudy Poo candy ass. Give him the people's elbow. That's what I'm saying, man. We need to quit sending these frail old men to fight the devil. Let's get Jesse Ventura in there. Let him powerbomb the devil and see what's what. Pope Schwarzenegger wouldn't put up with that shit. Yeah, he looks like a guy that's just going to absolutely love putting on the dress every morning, putting on the ruby slippers. So I guess it's a good selection for that. But I was kind of hoping for a burly American guy, you know, a big burly dude, a big giant burl of a man.
He's my age.
Yeah.
I was in the running. It's like, he was born in Chicago.
Ah, I see.
Knows French and Italian.
Oui, oui, absolument.
Has 2 brothers. I don't know. So I guess he's the real deal. We'll see. Will they accept him in Europe?
They have no choice. He's the Pope. The ultimate flex. They have to bow down. Bow down when I come to your town. When the Pope's in town, you bow down. Is your dad Catholic? No. My dad's like Protestant, I guess. Evangelical Protestant. Is there a sect?
Baptist.
Baptist.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Southern Baptist.
Southern Baptist. Gotcha. Cool. Baptists are kind of based. There have been a couple of Baptist uprisings and stuff where they've like burnt some other churches, and you know what I'm talking about?
More wars are over religion than just about anything else.
Yeah. What do you think that is?
People have their convictions, a deep-seated conviction. And they really view the other religions as evil.
Yeah, heresy. Yeah.
Rather than misguided or maybe ill-informed.
What about like worshiping the same deity in their own way?
Depends on how they worship them. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I'm not a religious guy, so I don't know how that ekes out in your mind, like a Muslim, right? You've probably met many Muslims. You probably didn't know that a lot of people were Muslims, right? So, you know that like Jesus is a is labeled as a, what is he? He's a holy man or whatever in the Quran. It's an Abrahamic faith, right? So it's connected to Judaism in the same way that Christianity is connected to Judaism. And so ultimately, Allah and Yahweh could be the same deity, right? And Muslims just have a different tradition.
Well, they think God personified is their warrior God.
The Prophet Muhammad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where we depart from our belief.
That is a big difference. The central figure of Christianity was like peaceful, almost to a fault, right? And the central figure of Islam was a warlord, a pretty barbaric one at that.
Yeah.
Illiterate. So interesting, right? But
my daughter gave me a book that's on the world's religions. It really wasn't biased. It just kind of broke down how they were founded.
mhm.
There's some trippy religions out there that I didn't realize all the minutia of it.
Yeah.
You get into the Mormon thing and you're thinking, gosh, how did people even begin to believe in that?
Well, you sent me down a rabbit hole because I remember you'd given me, when you moved out of that condo, you'd left me a box of old books. And I was going through it, picking out what I wanted to read one day, and I found Dianetics in there, which is the Scientology book. And I started reading it, and I was like, man, this is gibberish.
I know.
I was like, this is gobbledygook.
They're powerful. I mean,
But they're like #1 bestseller, and I started looking into it. I know a lot about the Church of Scientology now, and you talk about wild religions. You talk about wild religions, Daddy. They don't get much more wild as a bona fide recognized religion, too.
based on a science fiction novel.
Basically. Not on a science fiction novel itself, but yeah. 85 trillion years ago, an intergalactic overlord named Xenu came to planet Earth, which at that time was called Tigiak, and he did an audit, a tax audit of the local galactic sector, rounded up a bunch of people and brought them to Tigiak, which is Earth, to imprison them for tax evasion. Put them stacked them on top of a volcano, blew it up with a nuclear bomb. Their souls went up, right? He captured their souls with a net and froze them, forced them to watch a movie about Jesus and Buddha and all these things, and planted them with all of these memories and things, and then released them into the world. And they attached themselves to early man, and that's where all your problems come from. So if you have a mental problem, Dad, you have an old alien clinging to you, and you have to go to Scientology and pay them $1 million to get the ghost off of you, basically. It's 100% what it is. I'm not even, that's no exaggeration. That is doctrine. Doctrine in the Church of Scientology. And this is a bona fide religion in the United States with tax-exempt status. Make that one make sense. Very interesting to me, though, because it's a rare example of a modern bona fide religion. Most religions are based on some sort of relatively ancient tradition, right? And if you dig even further into their history, even more ancient tradition, right? Scientology, not so much. Scientology, completely and utterly created by L. Ron Hubbard out of his sick and twisted mind as a money-making enterprise. Those are his words. So interesting that it's tax exempt now, but whatever. But it was interesting to me because I would watch these videos where people would protest the Church of Scientology, and the members of the church were so vicious and mean and defensive in a way that, other religions don't. You never see like a Christian or well, I guess you will see Christians shouting people down, but not out, it was a different way. Like they would swarm. There would be like 100 of them from the church. And seeing how defensive people were of that religion made me take it a lot more seriously. And the more I learned, the more it just got batshit. It's because rich people do it. Well, that's kind of that's the grift. Is and I think L. Ron Hubbard was kind of crazy but kind of brilliant too. He was like, you know what we need? We need celebrities. We need a celebrity face for the church. And so he set up the church with 2 tiers. If you're a dude that walks in off the street, man, they're going to run you ragged. And they're going to if you want to be a part of their church, you're going to have to sign over your soul. Literally, you sign a 1 billion-year service contract and you join the church as a member of the Sea Org. But if you're Tom Cruise, they roll out the reddest of red carpets. You get access to all these high-end facilities, and everything's just super max luxury. And what do they fill in your head with? You're a superhuman. Because we have gotten these BTs, that's what they call them, body thetans, off of you. You're now capable of seeing the future and healing any wound and never getting sick. We were wandering about Hollywood as Goat versus Fish and found an open to the public outdoor gathering for Christmas, complete with Santa and decoration. They kicked out Goat versus Fish, did not like the vibe. It was the Scientology building. Goat versus Fish is a dude that has been to a lot of our meetups, and you know what? I have to find out, Dad. And you just have to answer. It's 50-50. You have to pick one. Are you goat or are you fish?
Well, you're going to have to give me some context.
There is no context. You are either goat or fish. It's one of those things. It's a vibe check. You have to just, which one,
If I had to choose.
There are 2 things in the world. There's goat and there's fish. Are you goat or are you fish?
I would have to pick goat.
So you're goat.
Yeah.
Celebration. So he's going to be fucking happy because a goat has been born. That's what he does. He goes around and I don't know how to explain goat versus fish to you. He makes people choose. It's like a mirror of ideology. It's almost like he's going, I'm telling you the way things are and you must choose one or the other. And when people refuse, some people will go, I don't want to choose. He calls them fence sitters. Oh, you're a fence sitter.
What is this, some new religion that's coming out, huh?
Yeah, maybe so. But celebration, a goat is born. Yeah, there he goes. Yeah, he's doing it. But I am fish. I'm a card-carrying fish. Sorry, Dad. But that's okay. Amelia is goat. Goat and fish live together. Wait, no. Amelia is fence sitter, I think. I can't remember. I think she is goat.
Who wants to be a fish? I mean, they're food.
Well, they eat other things, too.
Yeah, nasty things. Worms. Oh. A goat can at least, butt somebody in the ass and have a little life. Maybe produce a little milk. Yeah. Well, I guess if you're looking at it that way.
You want to be milked. You want to have udders. And you want to be milked.
I always thought if I grew a pair that I'd probably play with them. So yeah.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Maybe there is a deep-seated desire for that, so the goat thing works. It didn't say female or male.
That is true. It's goat or fish, yeah. And it's not really specified female or male. That is true. I wonder why that is. Dad versus son is now goat versus fish. Oh boy. Oh no.
Oh,
Dad
no.
versus
That's
son.
quite the wedge. I don't know if we're gonna have. I'm gonna have to go home early.
Yeah, I thought we were making progress, Dad, but I'm really
On
thinking
day
that,
9, it all falls apart.
yeah, you know what? Back to not talking. I didn't know you were goat. Get out. Don't ever darken my doorstep again, you goat.
Is one of your audience has kind of put this together?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I kind of like it.
He go to a lot of conventions, so like Comic-Con and these big, everything's a con now, tech cons, where there anywhere there's a big social gathering, Goat versus Fish wants to be there. Goat versus Fish is a musical act as well. Goat versus Fish sings music in praise of Goat and Fish, and he has people sing with him, and he makes videos, and he makes people choose.
He has followers.
He has many followers, and they grow by the day. Um, you know what? You can hear a Goat versus Fish song if you'd like.
I don't know if I could take it.
Oh, you don't have Spotify on your phone. Never mind. You know what? I can go get my phone and I will play you. I'll play you a Goat.
Not on Apple Music.
No, I don't know how to get to it there. Let me get my phone. I'll play.
Putting goat versus fish. Do you be goat or fish? Single. From the album, Goat versus Fish. I wonder, is that it? Now that particular song's a little retro. Is this it? Goat versus Fish?
Do you be Goat or Fish? Oh yeah, you found him.
Yeah.
Oh, Rocklet.
Kind of folksy, old.
You're playing it.
Yeah, I'd say even for me, it's a little retro.
He likes it. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm playing in my hearing aid. That's how old I am.
Oh, trust me, dude. I need them now too. I'm just.
Okay, so you're not building a cult, are you?
Yeah, well, okay. Dad is interviewing Goat versus Fish. Here we see Goat versus Fish brings us together with laughter and joy. Oh.
So it's just a feel-good thing. You're not building a cult where you're going to go down and feed everybody Kool-Aid someday. Right?
Are you building a cult, Goat versus Fish? Is there a cult of Goat versus Fish, or is Goat versus Fish about good vibes? That's basically, I think, what Dad is asking. We'll see what he says. Goat versus Fish is a moderator here. We have met Goat versus Fish on several occasions, and I'm a card-carrying fish. I've declared this openly several times to great celebration. And I hope to one day that you will come to a meetup and openly, publicly declare Goat.
I will do that if you'll give me enough lead time to find my way there.
I'll let you know as soon as we have dates booked. We're doing at least 2 this year. So as soon as we have dates booked, I'll give you both. And Goat versus Fish, we hope, will be at least at one of them. We have yet to work that out with Goat versus Fish because we don't have any dates yet. But as soon as we know in the background, we will be contacting
it needs
him.
To be in Vegas in the Sphere.
Oh God, yeah, I don't think we can afford that. I don't think we're quite that good.
Maybe Goat versus Fish could draw enough people, though. Perhaps.
Yeah. Here, let's see. Can Paul's dad handle the debauchery of a meetup?
Is it really that bad?
No, it really isn't.
I mean, I've gone on the show, but everybody was on their best behavior.
Sure.
I think.
It's kind of that way there. You'll be worshipped as a god if you go there. You will see what it is like to have people look at you with awe and fear in their eyes.
Will I be treated like a goat?
You will be Goat. Yeah, you will openly declare Goat, and there will be many goats. TJ is Goat. Scotty is Goat. I believe. Both TJ and Scotty are Goat, I believe. I'm the lone fish, but that's okay. There's a lot of fish there. You know, there will be open and unabashed fish as well. So it's a liberating experience.
I think it would be fun.
No, it's very fun. Everybody's chill and good natured, and yeah, we sling a lot of drinks, of course, because that's part of how we pay for the whole shindig. It's bar tab. But ultimately, most of the people handle their liquor just fine, and the ones that don't get escorted to the door by a big burly bouncer guy, and that's that.
I'll have to say, I probably won't make any money on me unless they charge for Cokes. Diet Coke.
Yeah.
Can I do that?
You will have unlimited Diet Cokes. I will tell the bartender that you are not to charge my father for Coke. He can have as many Cokes as he wants. We wish to bring all the goat and fish together. So here's his explanation of what he's doing.
All right.
We wish to bring all the goat and fish together in celebration and conversation. We will sing together and philosophize and meditate. You can make a contribution if you wish, but it is up to you how to participate. If it is a cult for you, it can be that, but we don't insist on it. That worries you a little bit. That gave you pause.
Well, I don't know.
It's about bringing people together in celebration, contemplation, conversation, and meditation, is what he said.
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. And it's not anti-Christian.
No, he's not anti anything.
There you go.
I've yet to get. You know what? The only thing that he's anti is a fence sitter. I've seen him excoriate a fence sitter, but that's it.
And the conversations kind of go around, why did you pick boat and why did you pick fish? Or
not really from him. He celebrates the fact that you chose and leaves it to you to discuss the philosophy behind it. And everybody's got their own ideas about what it means to be goat and fish, right? What that says about you. But it's a prompt for conversation, and oftentimes it'll lead deeper than you think. Philosophy, kind of.
I'm a bit of an old goat.
Yeah?
And my dad always said, because we had goats, and his opinion of goats were hard head, stinking butt, because they smell bad.
Yeah.
And if you turn your back on them,
it'll get you.
I'd like to say I'm not like that, but I think in some ways I am.
I think fish are incredibly free. That's why I chose fish. Where a goat might be pinned up in somebody's yard, munching on the same plot of grass, a fish has the whole ocean to explore. The world is fish's oyster. A fish is free.
I don't know. You've heard, I've had it said to me that I have the taste of a goat when it comes to decorating and stuff like that. But also food. I'll eat anything.
Mm-hmm.
So goats are known to eat cans, right? They're really eating the paper off the can.
Yeah.
But that's me. So the more I think about it, the more goatish I feel.
You see? And fish eat one thing. I'm a very persnickety eater. I'm very particular about what I like to eat, just like fish. Very limited selection of food, and I'm happy eating the same thing every day.
Well, fish eat other fish. Big fish eat little fish.
That's true.
So you guys are a little more aggressive.
Goat also
goats
will.
Are not known to eat other goats.
I think goat might chew on another goat if it got to that, but you're probably right. Yeah, goat probably not apt to prey on other goat. That is true. That brings up a full. That's see, I hadn't thought about that. Fish eat other fish. Goat don't eat other goat.
It's deep.
It's a quandary.
I
See?
like this guy.
Yeah.
Would I get to meet him when I go there?
Hopefully so. Yeah, we were in talks with goat versus fish.
Does he wear the crown and the T-shirt that
He does.
he wears the crown at
Yes,
the meetings?
he
'Cause I
comes.
see it on the album cover.
Yes, he wears the crown and the towel
Oh, I'll find it.
around and the T-shirt, and I believe he. Well, we'll talk about it, but yes, hopefully you will get to meet goat versus fish because he's a great guy. and sing along. He'll do a sing along with everybody, and it'll be awesome.
Old folk songs. At least that one sounds like that.
Yeah.
Kind of the feel good time in my life. So yeah, kind of good. I like it.
Goat screams and passes out. Yeah, that is true. Goat does go and sometimes they faint.
I love the fainting goats. Yeah, you startle them and they play dead, or no, it's kind of a seizure.
Yeah,
It's not intentional. The goat just kind of freaks.
Yeah, something short circuits, and it might be an adaptation. They just kind of like to a predator, because like some predators won't go after something, like they have a prey drive. They want their prey to run.
Yeah.
And so if you just fall over and play dead, maybe like it loses interest and chases off after another goat.
I'm telling you, it just gets deeper and deeper the more you talk about it.
Yeah, it sure does.
If that's his intention, is bring people together and give them something to talk about, I think he's got something there.
Yeah, I agree. I've always liked goat versus fish. Always been a cool cat to me. And yeah, I've met him probably 3 times, I think, at meetups, or twice, at least twice. Maybe more. So yeah, he's a good cat.
What to see? You say there's performances at these meetups? Is that something he
Yeah.
gets up and leads a song?
Well, he hasn't done part of the stage show yet, but we would like, I think, to have Goat versus Fish jump up on the stage and do a song and maybe have people openly declare goat and fish. You know what I mean? And we would love that. But we have not in the past. But yeah, we do. Typically, we'll do a musical act that is not us, kind of an opening.
Mm-hmm.
The last time in Vegas, we did the God Bombs. And the God Bombs are, they just do like kind of like 90s to early 2000s metal, gothy kind of metal, Marilyn Manson, 9 Inch Nails kind of really good. But they're really good, and they did a really great job for us. They did a bang up set. They get the crowd pumped, and then we come out because we can't really get the crowd pumped because we're just a bunch of fat losers. You know what I mean? So we just kind of go out, do our own thing. It's not like a big long production. We do a little half hour a piece or something, and then we get together and do a little thing, and then the show's over. Everybody.
Marilyn Manson is the one that wrote "Hurt," right? That Johnny Cash does.
Yeah. Oh no. That's Trent Reznor from 9 Inch Nails wrote "Hurt."
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know that the author of the song said it's no longer my song after Johnny Cash sang it. And
Trent Reznor is amazing.
I haven't heard the other version. I've heard Johnny Cash's version, and it's almost painful to listen to.
Yeah.
Just during a time where he was literally dying of cancer.
Yeah. Yeah. You should throw on the original version of "Hurt" and see how you feel about it.
I'll do it while we're talking here.
Yeah, if you want to. Yeah. You do that. Yeah, I'd be interested to see what you think about it.
Is it anything like the one?
I think you'll hear the similarity in it.
9 Inch Nails. Here we go.
You got to just let it happen.
Is there gonna be a lot of screaming?
No. "6 Degrees of Goat versus Fish." Yeah. Paul, do you feel sorry for raging alcoholics, or do you sympathize with them? I both. I feel bad for them, and I sympathize and empathize with them. Yeah. Hello, T.
But on Apple Music, they're paid.
Oh, crap.
Yeah, because it's.
Do you want to hook to mine? Here. Do you want to hook to my phone, and you can listen to it on Spotify?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can. Well, I don't know, because they're not just earbuds; they're hearing aids. And I gotta have them.
Oh, you have to pair them. Oh. Well, if I turn it up loud enough, could you hear it?
Yeah.
Okay, here. I'll just mute this so I don't get dinged, and I'll play it. And then anybody watching can play along. Yeah. It's a quiet song. Not quiet all the way through, but yeah. All right, he got it. What is a good thing about Joe Rogan? What is a bad thing about his podcast? I think he's good at fostering conversation. I think he's bad at remaining apolitical.
I like it.
Yeah.
He's being real. Not trying to impress anybody, just showing his pain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like it. My empire of dirt.
Yeah.
I'll make you hurt.
Yep.
Yeah. This particular song, I'm gonna pause it here.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
I see.
Even the backgrounds. I guess maybe I should listen to more of his music. Is that kind of a departure from what he normally does?
It's so he's a rock band is how I would describe him. So that would be a ballad, right?
Yeah.
And he's got his anthems too, where it's big and bombastic. So yeah, I would say he's like a rock band. You know, you might not like his louder stuff, but he does do a lot of really quiet, melodic, thoughtful music. Which did you see the movie The Social Network? The one about Mark Zuckerberg
Facebook.
making Facebook.
Yeah, yeah.
The soundtrack to that movie is amazing, and Trent Reznor did the soundtrack. He won an Oscar for it, best soundtrack that year. So he's a really talented composer. Struggled a lot in his early career with heroin addiction, and got clean, and kept making music. His music changed pretty profoundly off the heroin. I don't listen to as much of his newer stuff because there's some about the pain that comes. There's you remember the comedian Bill Hicks? He was popular in the 80s, kind of a George Carlin type of guy,
Yeah.
social commentator, and he would talk about how a lot of rock stars, that's a good thing about being on drugs is a lot of amazing art comes out of it. You know what I mean? It's basically the gist of the joke, right? And there's this kind of thing that happens sometimes with rock stars where early in their career, they're in the throes of that addiction. It gets worse when they get famous. And then they get clean off of it, and suddenly their music changes. It doesn't have that same energy. It's not as raw. It's not as emotionally captivating, and they become less interesting. So it's a devil's bargain sometimes. I think that's one of the things that makes art interesting is that it's and a lot of times it's driven by pain. It's like an exit for pain, and oftentimes it can feed itself.
Like Kurt Cobain that ended up dying so young.
Yeah, killed himself at 27. And he was a real important guy to my generation. He was like our John Lennon or yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like some of his songs.
Yeah.
They're not on my playlist, but I've heard them and liked them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's got like once again, he's a rock band, I mean, they're not a super departure from the types of guys that were popular when you were younger, you know what I mean? In terms of they got the rock song where boogie woogie kind of loud, aggressive thing, and then they've got the slow dance song, you know, more contemplative stuff. And you know, Nirvana, if you were to listen to an album of theirs, they did a live album, MTV Live in New York, and it is one of the most, because it's all acoustic, very little mixing, and it's very raw, but his voice is just so beautiful all the way throughout. He does a lot of cover songs and does them in his own way, and because it's acoustic, he can't really rock out super hard on an acoustic guitar, so he picked a more melodic set, and it's probably one of his most well-remembered albums, even all this time later. Sorry, I'm giving you too many little music recs.
I stick them on my playlist. Something interesting about Hurt, though, anytime my wife's in the car, if that song comes on, she doesn't tell me to, but I fast forward it, because it's kind of a personal thing when he's singing it.
Yeah.
The pain kind of takes you to a place, and I don't think Coral would deal with that well.
Yeah, it might not.
Anyway,
It might not.
That I'm ashamed of it. It's
No.
Just
it's a tough song. Yeah.
It's a personal thing.
Yeah.
Add to playlist. That one's going on my playlist. Yep.
Alive in New York.
Okay. That was Hurt.
Hurt. Yeah.
Now I'm backing up and trying to find. Search.
So yeah, just Nirvana Live in New York. And there should be a whole album, and you can any album.
Unplugged New York.
Unplugged, yeah, in New York, yeah.
All right, I'm going to.
Let's see.
Ooh, a lot of intro songs.
Yeah, let me. I'll tell you which one to play, to give you an idea. Which? Oh yeah, I'll give it. Let's see. Okay.
Add it to my playlist, and I'll.
Should I do
drive all those hours? I'll listen to my playlist.
Should I do something that's one of their? Should I give them a cover?
You have one song.
I know. I got one song to sell it.
This group. So what song would that be?
Let's see.
Now remember, I'm old.
Yeah. Let's see. Should I give him cause Come As You Are, About a Girl? I'm gonna give you About a Girl.
Love song.
Play too much, or we're gonna ban you.
Love song.
No, he's playing it in his.
Oh, okay.
In his earbuds, so.
Acoustic live.
Yeah.
Nah.
What makes a song a ballad? Slower tempo, a mellower mood, I think. I can kind of hear it through his ears. Yeah. Yeah, I took it. They were the Wednesday ones or whatever.
I like it. I hear the chorus.
What's bad about consuming video shorts like TikTok?
All right, it's on my playlist.
All right.
I'm gonna have to listen some more of that.
I'll tell you, next time you're driving, if you put that album on, there's not a bad one. They're all that vibe.
I'll have to listen through.
There's not a bad one on it.
I have to. Having been on stage a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
I'm never anything near famous, but when you're doing acoustic and you don't have, voice correction, and auto-tune going on, there's nowhere to hide.
Yeah.
You either got it or you ain't, and they definitely got it together. That's very
Kurt's voice.
very talented. And
Kurt's
his
voice is
kind of painful and affected a little bit. The
Yeah.
way he sings.
yeah. It's like
Draws you in.
like a real rasp to it at the high end, and nobody can sing like him. Like nobody. He's one of those inimitable singers. Nobody does a Kurt impression that's of any note because it's just uniquely his voice. And he was so important to my generation. I remember finding out when he died from Morgan on the bus. His dad had called him, and we all bawled on the bus. Bunch of kids just cried.